sign. It's like I found a portal to another time. A channel with a mystical flare. Gotta make the light sunset and clear. 369 time mission, please take me to the higher place. I'm locking my intuition, feeling spirit's embrace. From the back to psychic abilities, tarot cards and more. I'm catching all the vibes like I never did before.
Goodbye.
But I wasn't asleep, and I immediately I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget, but I didn't forget, and I was awake. I can't explain it though, but I wasn't asleep.
So have you had what are your situations with deja vu?
It used to happen every so often, and then it would happen a little more often. So it used to not happen often. Then it started to happen maybe a few times a year. And then now it's a little more, I would say once a month, but it's more than that. So maybe 2 times, maybe a month or so. And it's so that's why it intrigued me when someone asked a question on Slow Bella, because I'm like, wait a minute though, because it started to happen to the point where it's dang, deja vu again. I just had it the other day. Have you ever had deja vu?
Yep, extremely a lot.
Extremely a lot, huh?
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's an awful lot. Extremely a lot.
Because it got to the point, it started off, it'll be like deja vu. You'd be kind of confused, I've seen this before, I've done this before. Because it'll be moments where I just stop in my tracks, I did this already. And I'm like,
yes.
So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And then I started realizing it's memory. A lot of it's memory because I'm jumping around. I could have the dream that I'm doing something, then I was like, oh yeah, I did this in the dream, which means I've already went to this point in time.
Is that what it means? Is that your perspective that you, because it does, it's kind of the same thing for me. The other day when it happened, I was just chilling in my bed, watching TV, and I'm like, yo, this whole thing actually already happened, and it's trippy. So you think what is your take?
I view it as we don't live in linear time. We're not moving in a straight line. I think we're always moving around, and we're existing and not existing at the same time. It started speeding up for me more, the deja vu things. First it'll be every few months, and then it was every day, because it started
every day.
If I wake up at a certain time, I'll dream certain parts of my day before it happened.
Damn. Oh, so that's so you get premonitions. That's what that is. Okay. That happens every day?
Almost. It depends if I sleep, if I get enough sleep.
Do you think that has something to do with it? Because that would make sense. If you don't get enough sleep, then you have it more?
Yeah, if I get enough sleep, it's I get more information. But if I'm tossing and turning and don't sleep for that long, I don't see that much. Or it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
The deja vu you're talking about.
Yeah. But the other part, I have deja vu throughout the day where it's I did this before, or scenery.
Multiple times in one day. It's already tripping me out as often. So multiple times. How long has that been happening?
It started speeding up more these last 2 years. My mind started realizing what it was. So it's how I defined it started kind of speeding it up more. Before I looked at it as this happened before, but what is it? Am I supposed to wait for something to happen? Is a message supposed to come? Or I was just kind of sitting there blank. Yeah.
So then you think it's you're coming back to specific points in time. It is happening more. Instead of understanding that it's not time isn't linear, right? So get that. But coming back to that exact point, is that what you're saying? And so then that's happening multiple times a day, every day for a couple years now?
Yeah, lately it's if I go to the park, I was sitting in the park, and then I realized I've seen this park before, even though I go to this park, but it was I remember as a kid, I used to dream about this park. But I didn't realize it until I was at like a certain angle. The sun was at a certain angle and it's the shadow, and it was like the same image. It was like the images matched up in my memory. And I was like,
So the
oh,
point where you froze for a second, like, wait.
yeah. And I was like, oh, this is what I used to see. So it's like I remember the images, and now I'm starting to figure out like, okay, so it's me jumping around. Those memories don't erase, but they are like scenes and dreams, little flashes. And then it's when you live it out, for me, it's like a deja vu.
Sometimes that is the case for me, but I was also just sitting here remembering, like, for the one that I had the other day, it wasn't like I had been here before or like been like in that exact spot. It was just like I already saw, how do I explain? Like I already was familiar with it, or like I saw it. Like, okay, so what happened the other day was I had the deja vu, right? Like, oh, I've done this already. But I actually was brought back to a point like a couple years ago where I was standing in my kitchen at my old apartment. I used to live downtown, and it gave me, I just basically had a flash of when I was standing there of what was happening here, if that makes sense. And I just like, so that's kind of what I always thought. I guess everybody can have like their own interpretation. And I guess for me, maybe it is a couple different things that all fall into that same category where something is being repeated in some way, shape, or form. But with that particular situation, maybe it wasn't that I had been there, but I had already seen that a couple years ago standing in my kitchen, and like I had gotten an image of that. I don't know. It sounds crazy, but
it's the basis of it is something repeated.
Yeah.
But you're trying to figure out when did it repeat, because it's like you're jumping around. You'll see that image or that flash, or you say you were standing in your kitchen, but it happened at a different time, and then you repeated it again. So it was a future version of what you saw, and then it ended up happening. Then you experienced it.
Yeah.
But you're trying to figure out, when did you see it first?
When did I see it first? Yeah. A couple weeks ago, I had a memory come back to me again. This was a couple years ago when I lived in my old apartment. And at that time, I feel like it was a dream. And I woke up and I was telling my ex, like, I just had this dream that I was like a psychic and I had dogs. Like, those were the things that were not in my like realm like 4 years ago. Like, they just weren't. And I remember that particular moment came back to me like, yo, I feel like I had a dream about this. And I was like explaining it and just went on about my day. So I guess that's probably not deja vu then. That's what you would call like a premonition then, right?
It's not really a premonition. It's your kind of time traveling. You're seeing your future self in dreams, basically. That's why I say it's not really dreams. Your mind is allowing you to see all different aspects and different times of yourself. You may think it's a dream, and then when you're in your waking state, it may happen the next day. It may happen 5 years from now. It's still like a deja vu moment because that memory is still imprinted in you. That's why it's a deja vu. So it is a repeat of something that you did. It's usually from a dream.
Yeah, I clearly remember in that moment how I felt talking about my life right now, but it just seems so like that was a crazy ass dream. Me having a dog, like what? Absolutely not. To have that moment recently, like, yo, I had a dream about this, like this shit actually happened. I remember how I felt when I was like talking about like that was very clearly a dream, like and so it just kind of like every day I'm like, wait, am I losing my mind though? Everything seems like it's okay.
Baby, you know where to go when you need a fresh cut, want that head to slow. FlyFactorBarberLounge is the place to be. And Lawrenceville, GA, where you feel so free. So give them a call or just stop by. FlyFactorBarberLounge, let them get you fly. With that 808 beat and the vibe so live. You leave with a smile and a stylish style. FlyFactorBarberLounge, they'll treat you right.
During this period, the steadying influence of the Six of Hearts will cause relationship issues to be dealt with and settled. Though you might be impatient at this time, You may be forced to slow down and act responsibly in all your personal affairs. You will get exactly what you give to others now, so be especially careful in what you are putting out. Rest assured that any matters, whether legal or romantic, will result in a fair and equal settlement for all concerned.
Hey, you want to turn up the volume on your medical cannabis wellness journey, but don't know how? You want the ease of getting the products you need delivered to your front door? Then follow these 3 easy steps. Step 1, go to nugmd.com, your portal to a hassle-free path to medical cannabis. Answer a few quick questions and see if you qualify for a medical recommendation letter. It's a remix of convenience and ease. Don't worry, you only pay if you're approved. Step 2, congratulations! You're approved and armed with your medical recommendation letter. Now, you can use the official 369 Music Talk Higher.Health link to sign up and make your first purchase. Step 3, head over to Higher.Health, your go-to destination for premium cannabis essentials. From soothing strains to focus-boosting blends, they've got the beats covered. Turn up the wellness, turn up the creativity. Visit nugmd.com and Higher.Health today. nugmd.com and Higher.Health, your rhythm to wellness unlocked.
aprettylowlife.com.
But you always, I've come across those threads and things on social media where I came across this child. I don't want to start talking about people, honey, but somebody was talking about like 10 things that they would not watch because it's demonic and you're gonna go to hell. And one of the things was tarot and crystals, and she went on to explain her reasons. And I'm always interested in what other people have to say and, their opinions, because again, I like learning things. So if it's something that can expand me, like tell me, like I'm a glutton for knowledge, right? And so I was really, really trying to listen objectively, but there was I think a lot of times, especially in this day and age, all people are really doing is repeating information, and they're not thinking about what it is that they're repeating or telling themselves or telling anybody else. And I just feel like that's a big problem. And I could just say, like, for me and mine's, like, even so I have 3 daughters, 19, 15, and 6. And they're all very, well, you can tell they're my kids. We'll say that much. They're all very, even like the 6-year-old, she'll converse with you and have like conversations and be like, oh, they're so this, they're so that. And it's like, that's because I talk to them like I want them to grow into intelligent adults that are able to see the bullshit that surrounds us. I don't believe in just telling anybody really, but children in particular too, just anything. Like the things that I was told as a child and not told to question, it took me like damn near 3 decades to get comfortable really, with everything, with myself, you know what I mean? And I just think that I wish less people would walk around repeating things without thinking about them first. That was a really long way to say that.
Basically what you said is what I'm saying. Like what tarot is now, is like people are just repeating things and not thinking about what they're actually saying. They're not actually taking in the information that they're hearing. It's like they hear it, then they just repeat what they just heard, not taking the time to process it, see how it actually applies. Can it be changed? And there's a lot of things on that fit that mold, because it's like religion is the same thing. Like I started going to church like when I was 5. I didn't like it because it was like, why I gotta go here?
It was long. It was long.
It was long as hell. It was just, I just knew my Sundays was like my best days. And when you check my chart, Sundays are supposed to be my good days. So it was like they took my good day away from me. And it was like, I I don't believe in that. I don't have a belief system. But I understand, like, I don't knock anybody that is religious because I understand how it works.
Belief, right? Order.
Yeah, so but I don't have a belief system. I have a no system. So
Okay.
when I would be in church, I would sit and ask questions, and they would be sitting there baffled. And I was like 8, 9, 10, you know, like talking about the Nephilim in the Bible. I'm like, here in Genesis 6:6, it says this. So what about this? And they was like, oh, I don't know. And then I'd be like, okay, what about this? This guy that was cursed to walk the world, and he's supposed to be still alive now. You know, I'm going through verses, and I'm like, and then y'all don't go by what y'all say in this book. And then it was just so many contradictions I brought up as a child. So they thought I was going to be a preacher when I was young. They was like, oh, he's going to be a preacher. I was like,
Up in the clouds and growing. Do you wanna fly with me?
All right, I do ask you to go on ahead and check out, and then if you should so feel, subscribe to my live channel, Pretty Hotel 333, as that is when we do our live reads. All right, let's see what y'all got going on.
Shop for 369 merch right now.
Bucket hats, $36.99.
Camo bear,
$29.99. Don't miss out.
go online now.
Click the link in the description.
because everybody got these different abilities, but it's like, okay, so why don't we just expand more on what we do? Like, you got light workers, people that can change the energy in your body. So why aren't we have centers for that? You know, why are we still taking pharmaceuticals? We got remote viewers, so why can't we find missing people?
Well, you know, that's what they say. I'm gonna say they, whoever they is, but that's what they say. It's like on is it Sirius B? Everyone's job is related to them. So your light workers literally do, and also they don't work for money. Like, everybody works for the one. Like, for, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they say that it is. Do you know what are your thoughts on souls that originate not on Earth?
I don't know. I'm mixed on it because that's what people tell me. I've had numerous tarot readers tell me I'm not from here. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not from here, but I don't know what to call it. I don't know if I don't view it as another planet. I kind of just view it as another universe, so to say. But I think that everybody comes from a different place. I don't know if I wouldn't necessarily call it a planet. I think that this matrix that we in allows us to see 9 dimensions at once. Those dimensions are other lives. And through those dimensions, we're also tapped into those memories. So some people see their other lives when they were on another planet. Some people see their other lives when they were not in human form. They could have been a beast or some type of animal. And I think all of those existences exist within us now, like being in this matrix. So that's when I hear people say, I'm from Pleiades, or I'm from here, or I'm from this planet. I think they're telling the truth because I believe that was a dimension that they existed in. I don't necessarily look at it as a linear time that it's a planet out there right now and that's where they from.
Okay. So in another galaxy, per se, with other planets, how does that fit into, because I follow what you're saying. I get what you're saying. So that's not necessarily, that's just like a different reality, right? That they were in, what time is flew, all of that, right? What about the stuff that's outside of this? Makes sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm getting that right.
When I went outside of everything, I saw it as a box. Like this box, it's like a square box that contains all these different realities. And outside of this is just whatever you want to make. Like, I believe this is a controlled reality.
Who's controlling it if not us?
I think it's us. It's just The reason for the amnesia is on purpose. It's like a video game. Like that's how I view everything. Like this plane or this dimension is a level in a video game. Once you leave this body, you still get to go to another life, another existence. It's not going to be the same. You might still have food, but you may not eat apples. Apples might be purple in that world. And they might be poison in that world. So it's like, it'll be slight little differences in each reality, but they're controlled realities, like parameters, like a computer program.
Oh, have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Yeah.
Do you mean like that?
Yeah. So that movie, that's basically how I dream. Like ever since I was a kid, I would dream in 9 different layers. I would go to 9 different realities within 8 hours of sleep.
That's exhausting.
But that made me realize how complicated I can process information. If I was able to remember 9 different realities and have different lives, and then wake up and go to school and still remember what I did in those dreams and where they are, because that's what I was trying to tell my mother. I'm like, I'm not having dreams. These are real places, because I'm remembering streets. I remember people. I know where to go. I'm not just having random dreams. These have to be real places, because I'm not getting it from TV. I'm not getting it from nowhere in my reality. I'm seeing things that don't even exist in my reality. Like I saw cell phones and drones when I was little, and it wasn't even in existence yet. But I didn't know how to describe it to people. I was just like, I had this small little TV in my hand that I used to touch in my dream. And then I said these cameras used to follow me around, but they had fly around like helicopters, but they were small. They were drones, but I didn't know how to describe it back then.
Right.